Hi, this is Catherine on day 11 of the 30-day video challenge to get more women into motorbiking. And this video is going to be the start of a mini-series that looks into the different brands of motorbikes that there are. What I actually want to do, because it just makes the most logical sense, mostly from a biker point of view, is that I actually want to divide up the brands based on the country of origin. There is a reason for it. It's because although there are idiosyncrasies within each brand, the reality is that each country that mainly produces motorbikes has its own take of things, and broadly speaking, those broad sweeps are very similar, and those are the points that I really want to concentrate on. So, country number one is going to have to be Japan. And the reason that I'm choosing Japan first is because it gets rid of the big four really quickly. Now, the big four, as they're nicknamed, are Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, and Suzuki. And during the 90s and early 2000s in particular, then they were ridiculously successful with all of their sports bikes. They shifted so many units of sports bikes, it was crazy. That was the real era of, well, for want of a better expression, head down, bum up riding, because you literally are. When you ride, you literally do ride flat. Your head is at the same level as your hips when you're riding on a proper sports bike, and yeah, it's kind of cool but kind of scary too. And you will need a lot of back massages to get over it, really. Anyway, so the big four Japanese brands, they are well known for their reliability, their functionality. It's all about being tough, resilient, because these are, and they're also quite cheap. And the reason is because these are the bikes that tend to be bought in bulk for couriers, for deliveries, and they're also really popular with the riding schools as a result, because if you're ever in a riding school, then the hard fact is you're going to fall off your bike several times. And these bikes, because they're quite cheap, because they're quite functional, it means that you don't have to worry too much about playing to the bike's strengths. You can just concentrate on learning how to ride. Essentially, the key thing about Japanese bikes altogether is that they let you get on with it, you know. They, rather than being the dominant character that will set the tone for your riding, then they let you be yourself, and they're just in the background, you know. It's a little bit like the saying, do the clothes make the man? You know, imagine that instead a Japanese motorbike are your clothes, essentially. They're meant to be there, but they're not meant to necessarily be at the forefront. It's all about you. And that's quite cool as well. Now, if I had to choose between them, I would have to say my personal favourite is Honda. And that's purely because out of all of them, the feel of the bikes are just a little bit more sophisticated, and particularly the sports bikes have just that little bit more torque. Now, torque is quite important when for things like when you are doing a hill start, basically. It means that you can ride the clutch just that little bit harder, and that is really useful, I find. So for me, I have to say I do prefer a Honda, plus to me it just makes a nicer sound. But that's not to say that the others aren't any good, because I mean the Suzuki GSXR, or we like to call them Gixxers, that is a superb sports bike. Fantastic, you know, looks good, feels good. Yeah, you know, if I wanted a Japanese sports bike that was 600cc, I'd go for a Gixxer personally. Plus I like blue bikes, and you don't get that many Honda blue bikes, unfortunately. Yeah, you know. So, that will sum up in a nutshell Japanese bikes for you. In the next video, I'm going to talk about English bikes. Coming right up.